All right, everybody. Welcome to today's Painting with Eric. It's a Friday. We're at Casper's Park. Now we're going to do two things. Two things here. Number one, we're going to do some drawing. I think drawing is like one of the most underrated things that people should be doing. Like every time you go out to paint, you should always do like a little sketch, a little something, this and that. But to really get a lot better at your plein air painting is to sit down with a nice big pad of paper and your pencil box and all that stuff, and use some like really soft, like your charcoals, or like a woodless pencil, like a 6 or 8B, something that's really soft, and just use that to just generally work out composition idea, getting your eye-hand coordination. And so doing the drawings is like really helpful. And then use like a 4-value charcoal, so that you can pick out some values and stuff like that, and you're just blocking in big shapes, no details or anything like that. And that, I guarantee you do a bunch of those, your paintings will be a million times better. I'm not sure if a million is the right word. It'll be a lot better. Okay. And just go out and like 3, 4, 5 times, instead of doing all that, just do your charcoal drawings and do like a bunch, like sit somewhere nice, bring a chair or whatever, and in the shade, and with your emotional support water bottle, and just do a ton of drawings. I guarantee you it will improve your paintings immensely. So here I am. I'm at a park bench here. I've got trees there, a little scene there, trees there. Should have brought some hot dogs and hamburgers. I've got some other vista scenes over here. I've got, hold on a second here. See, I've got a pencil box here. I've got like, woodless pencils. I've got these pencils. I've got, the hell are those? Anyway, just a bunch of shit in there, okay? I don't have my 4-value charcoals here though, but that's okay. I'm just doing some drawings, and then I will do a painting, because then I gotta go pick my wife up. She's getting her hair done. That's about it. So let's get, oh yeah, shady spot. Trust me, you want a shady spot. It's gonna be like 100 degrees out today, so anyway. All right, let's get some drawings done. All right, so these are woodless pencils, 4B. Here's the other one I was using. You got a sketching pencil, 4B. Here's another sketching pencil. This is an 8B. Maybe you got your erasers, an eraser or two, because you got your little pencil sharpener. This is I don't know what this is. It's a woodless pencil, but I think it's a 6 or an 8B. You want something nice and soft, something that's gonna, allow you to really move some stuff around. The one thing you don't want to do is use mechanical pencils for something like this. Like, I've got all my mechanical pencil stuff. You don't want to use mechanical pencils for this. I do have some inking pens. I don't know. All right, so this is a wilderness park, and wilderness parks, you're not allowed to have a dog with you, or any animals apparently. So I couldn't even bring a hunting falcon, I guess. I don't know. So if I get eaten by a mountain lion, you'll know what happened. Okay, so here's the deal. Just dividing this paper into 4 here, and there's no rhyme or reason as to where you start, but like put your little registration marks like you do in your paint, so I'm going to make this area right here the focal area, and let's see what we got here. Anyway, so what the idea is, you just want to really loose gestural drawings, and I just want to kind of capture the essence of it here. So like when you're doing your painting, this is the drawing phase, the composition phase. So this is what we're working on, the composition phase of your drawing. And this is, so when you're drawing your painting to do the actual painting, because if you don't have a good start on your drawing, then just start over. So there's one guy who I know and follow on all these painting Instagram things, is the eminently Mr. Cool, ultra cool guy, Mr. Paul Kratter. And if you watch any of his videos, he does a little sketch drawing at the beginning of each of his paintings, which is really awesome to do. I don't do it, but he does it, and I think it's pretty awesome to do that. This particular tree, by the way, is called a sycamore. A little grove of sycamores here. Sycamores and oaks. I remember when I was a kid drawing and everything, you get like charcoal marks on your hand and it works off there. I used to get so frustrated and angry. And, oh my God, I ruined my painting. Now it's like, who cares? I think that's one thing that is hard to do, and what this really helps is getting gestural with your work. Instead of getting so tight and illustrative, like a lot of people generally start off doing, getting this real loose stuff it's hard, I think. And it's so funny because I started taking this class, I'm a college boy again, at the JC. It's a figure drawing class, and I'm doing it for a couple different reasons. One, because I don't have any other place to go do figure drawing. All the other places around me closed. Two, if you sign up for the JCs here, at least in California, you get like access to like all kinds of free stuff, including some expensive software. So that's like super awesome. And number three, it's a class, so it forces you to go there. It's like going to the gym. It's like, do you really want to go to the gym? No, but if you have a class you got to go to, or this and that, well, you show up, and that's what you do. So all that combined, taking a class at the JC again, and it's so far pretty fun. Anyway, so you have all these younger kids in there. One other older guy. And so what happens is, she's like, okay, take out your pencils, this and that. And she said, anything but a mechanical pencil, no mechanical pencils. And all of a sudden you just hear all these click, 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 and all, people putting away their mechanical pencils and getting out something else. Kind of funny. Because that's what you want to do. We do this, tight rendering that everyone falls in love with art, but don't realize that that tight rendering is, that's not the first step. You need to learn the underlying basics before you get into that. Okay, so here we go. Hope this kind of shows up right on the camera. It's a gestural drawing, nothing big, nothing great. Took about a couple minutes, and it just kind of, the idea of what these trees are doing, some foliage in the background, and that's about it. Because one of the other things it does, it helps you get your scale. Like, how much of this tree did I really want to put in there? This could be like a lot bigger of a painting. But the way I scaled it into the scene here, it's not that big of a painting. As much as there's some really interesting textures and colors on the tree, we're not doing that at this point. I'm just showing some of the shading area, some of your lighting, your lights and darks and your shades and stuff like that. See, like this composition, I don't think really works because it just looks like you got this dead something laying there and then all this stuff coming out of it. Well, it's an interesting scene here. It's just it doesn't really look good as a painting. Well, let's switch up our scene a little here. There's just a lot of shadows in here, really. Like the two pictures you got, like, because it's like, 11 o'clock. You got like just the sun, shadow. That's it. No long shadows, no this, no that. Just, here's one thing about doing a drawing like this. So here you got, it's like a little access road that goes back in there. So it's a, totally paved road in a way, just no asphalt. Anyway, so do you make it like a cool, like little hiking trail, or do you put in the man-made stuff to let you know that your car isn't supposed to go there? That's a decision you got to make while you're painting. And I don't know, but in the drawing, that's where you work out your ideas. This would be a fun little painting. Like right here is like a porta potty. You probably don't want to put a porta potty in your painting unless you're... So all I did is just worked out the composition, the idea, where some trees are going, worked it out. I like it. Done. Yeah, flip your phone around if you want to see what this actually looks like. That's one of the problems about painting in the dead afternoon is your shadows are kind of flat. You don't really get long shadows. You don't get a lot of atmospheric perspective. You don't get a lot of that stuff. You just kind of It's not as interesting. You got to kind of pick out your interest a little bit better. That's why whenever you do a plein air painting competition, here's what I usually do: is I do it in the morning. I'll go do a painting, and then afternoon lunch, hang out, drive around, and then do an evening painting. So I do like 2 paintings, but at each end of the day, and during the middle, just kind of hang out. I know this one guy, Brian Mark Taylor. He said he'd go see a movie. That's not a bad idea. All right. Gotta do one more drawing, guys. One more drawing. All right, we got a scene right over here, guys. It's all bramblies. Lots of texture, but simplify. This would be kind of a fun painting to do, just for the challenge of the texture and the, it's all like in shadow, just enough dappled light coming through. This would be an interesting painting, guys. All right, so here's the other thing I always do. I always sign it, just like I do the paintings. I put the month, year. Okay, so that's why when someone a couple hundred years from now, like, oh my God, the great Eric, when did he do this? Oh, it must have been August of 2025. Oh my God, 2025. Remember what it was like back then? Oh my God, it was just craziness. Yeah, fall of democracy and shit. Anyway, all right, so there we go. We got our drawings done. All right, everybody, welcome back to Steve MacGyver's Painting with Eric Newbert. All right, so today we're at Casper's Park. If you watch the other video, it's all about drawing. We're at the same place. We're doing drawing now instead of the painting. All right, so here we go. We have this scene here. We have this canvas. There's some light and some light coming from behind. This isn't bad. I think it's okay. And then we got our palette. We got titanium white, yellow, cad yellow medium, ultramarine blue, cad red medium, and some burnt umber. We got some solvent down there. There's no dog. There's a water fountain over there. Bathroom. Oh, there's bathrooms all around. A park ranger. Yeah, more fucking park rangers here than you know what to do with, and for what reason I have no idea. Like, it's weird. All right, let's do a painting, guys. All right, we got a brush that's fairly stiff and scratchy. This brush is almost done. Use our brown. And just for today's funsies, I'm going to use just a little bit of yellow in there and then some white. Okay. Now, what color is this? I don't know. You'd have to check your astrological calendar, see if Mercury's in retrograde, do a little numerology, and then you come up with whatever color this really is. I don't know what it is, but it's what we're going to use. So I put my little registration mark there. All right, let's do some drawing here. Now, if you saw the drawing part, you know what I'm doing. I'm gonna come here at this right here, just gonna block in where this whole thing is gonna go. Because this is our focal area right here. Okay, guys. Here's a good opportunity to really draw in this tree to really solidify what shapes you want to have, your how this tree wants to look, so it makes it look really good. Yeah, this bush over here. This is the if you listen to any Clyde Aspovic stuff, he talks about the harmony in the painting, and well, this is where you're doing the harmony. Hi. So like right in here, that was a decision. This height, according to this, that, because then there's a little hill that's going to go across there. Now this path is like right in the middle, but we have this highlighted spot here, so hopefully this will work. Okay, so here's our scene, guys. So here's our scene. This is going to be our focal area. I want to bring us in, get this focal area, a lot of texture here, knock this back, this gets knocked back, and then it's just a beautiful blue sky, to be honest with you. So no clouds or any ding-dong stuff like that. There's a little bit of, so there we go. Let's do this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the camera because I'm trying something new, guys, so, you know, pay attention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in the same puddle of color, but now I'm going to start adding in my darky darks, the darkest darks right here. So I got my blue, red, a little more of the brown. A bit more of the blue here. Keep it very thin. This will be pretty dark, guys, so just so you know. Alright, so let's just go ahead and put in some of our darks here. Very thin darks. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm really liking this color that I came up with here, and I want to kind of just key everything off of this color because I really like it. That's a perfect example of that was a bad shape, fix it. Because everything's so flat and everything, so we're really going to try and put in some of this atmosphere back in here, okay guys? Like really put in some atmosphere. All right, I'm mixing up quite a bit of paint here because the thing is this canvas, remember in previous videos I talked about, you know, it's a combination of your brush and the canvas that gives you a certain look to the painting. And then your mark, of course, is, you know, is signaturely yours. So this canvas has got a lot of tooth to it, which, you know, take it for what it is. And this brush I'm using is very stiff, very crappy in a way. But needless to say, at this stage in the painting, we're just trying to, you know, block in our composition and create some underlying texture. And so, you know, that's what we're doing. This paint's very, lots of solvent in there. It's like a really big oak tree. All right, we'll come back in with some lighters and darks. But again, we want to keep it keyed up pretty freaking high. Yeah, not really putting any details on it. We just want to make it like just a titch warm. That's probably too warm. All right, folks. Let's see here. This is really annoying me, but the light on here is really throwing me off, guys. Okay, so not that it's a big deal, but I rotate it around so I don't have the light on here. I also have better lighting on it from this and that light. So anyway, since I've got to go pick up my wife from her hair appointment because she broke her foot and can't drive, so I am Monsieur Chauffeur. Here we go. So let's just keep blocking this stuff in and see what we can get done. We might have to finish this up back in the studio. We'll see. But the notion that you have to get a painting done on scene and it's like museum quality, you're going to turn in or this and that, that's a nonsense idea. Unless it's for a competition, of course, and you're out playing your painting for a competition. But if you're out for fun, you know, the whole point is to learn and enjoy yourself and, of course, have fun. So plan accordingly. This brush is, it's got a bigger, softer head, and we're going to use it to put in all our background. So I went to the art store the other day to get some acrylic paints, some pads of paper, some this and that. Not much. I mean, really, I did not get much. $250 later. What? I mean, art's always been expensive, but Jesus H, a car payment or half a car payment? I mean, what the? Holy, I mean, is it really that expensive? Everything is so expensive now. I mean, god damn, dude. So I really need to do is get sponsored by somebody who makes paints, you know, like Royal Talons, Kyle. How you sponsor people to be, you know, your, I don't know, ambassador or whatever it's called. You know, and I know some artists that do it, and, you know, I don't know what they do to actually promote the paints. But let me tell you, man, on my channel, especially if I get a lot of people here, I'll be more than happy to promote the snot out of your paints. Or Marcello over at Da Vinci. I should hit him up. He's a pretty solid guy too. But let me tell you, man, I would be promoting your stuff left and right if you wanted to support me. I guess that's kind of the whole part of you know, it's like, it seems kind of, like, oh man, really? Oh hell, what did I just do here? It seems a little bit of chintzy in a way. It's like you're basing yourself. I don't know. It just seems a little chintzy in a way that you're like asking, for money to do this and that, to do your art. But then again, yeah, everyone else asks you for money to do stuff. Put gas in your car. Or, the people at the grocery store want food or money for food, and you're like, well, I don't know if I want to do that, but you have to do it. So, anyway, that's what we're after, is a little bit of money, just so I can continue doing this to entertain you guys and promote your products, and so that the world, the cogs of capitalism keep turning. But, as soon as I get some more followers or this and that or whatever, I can see where it's, at this point, I don't know when you're watching this video, but at this point, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for someone to sponsor me at this point, because I just don't have a lot of followers. But I'm working on it. So perseverance and luck, guys. Perseverance and luck. That's what life is all about. Okay, so for the most part, especially since I'm under a slight time constraint, I've got my general idea all plopped in here. So let's go ahead and start pulling out and working out a few details in it, okay? Number one, the idea is that we wanted to keep our key pretty high, but we're going to go, what the hell is that? You guys ever notice that your paintbrush starts like disintegrating in the paint? I always think it's like in hundreds of years, and like, oh my gosh, the famous Eric Newber painting. There's a hair. It's probably one of his hairs. Let's reconstitute it, and they get like a chipmunk or something out of it. I don't know. All right, so let's just. Now we're going to come back in, fix a lot of shapes, put in some of these highlights and contours of our foliage here. When in doubt, simplify. See, I'm not digging this at all, guys. Not digging that at all. Okay, guys, so here's the deal. I got to kind of get going. The painting is not really finished, at least not to the way I like it. I'm going to work on it back in the studio, hopefully. If not, this will be the end of the video. But again, the whole idea was to do some drawings. The whole idea is to do some painting, this and that. It needs to be, massage fixed. The details need to be pulled out, pulled, whatever. And so that's about it. Again, this was the scene right there. We had the big tree back, and then the hillside, a little this and that. There's the porta potty. We're not painting the porta potty in. So anyway, we'll see how this one turns out back in the studio, and we'll see you there. All right, so here's the deal, guys. I think it's more or less it's a good painting, more or less this and that, but of course I didn't finish it. So the whole plan here is I'm going to finish this painting here in the studio, because I want to put out a nice video for you guys to like, click, and subscribe. So make a few changes. Okay, so long story short, at what point do you think a painting is done? I don't know. That's a long discussion. You can do a dissertation on that when it's a painting done. But anyway, that being said, I think I'm done. I like it. I changed up the shapes here and there. I changed some of that. I got rid of some of these shapes here that were kind of irritating me a little. And so, and then I put in some details and whatever. I like using the little Mr. Scratchy brush, this little shit brush, because I like putting in just little details here and there just to break some planes, put a little texture, a little stuff like that. And I think that it helps. I don't know. I think it helps. Do your own painting. All right, so that's it. I'm going to call it done. Done for this video. I hope you like it. Like, click, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell a buddy, because I want to keep doing this, and by having you guys subscribe and click the like button, hopefully I can keep doing this instead of moving into a van down by the river. And that's about it, So it'll be available I'll post the link on the Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's Eric Newbert Fine Art on Instagram. And I'll post the video of that when I have this one ready to sell. So look for it there. Go to Instagram. Go get a donut. I don't know. Be happy. That's it. Be happy in life. All right. See you next time.